Good morning. It's 6:15, Wednesday, the 31st of, where are we, August 2022. I know the year, just about. I'm Ray with another midweek message. Temperature 15 centigrade, which is 59 Fahrenheit. Barometric pressure, if anyone's interested in that, I don't know, 1023 millibars. No wind at all. Blue sky. Not a breath of breeze. Oh, hang on, I just saw a leaf move on the cherry tree out there. Little bit of breeze. Going to be a nice day, apparently. I've got some work to do on the front drive. I've got some concreting to do. Won't bore you with that. Now, do you remember was it last Sunday? I can't remember when it was, but I mentioned Janet's comment about my first time. That was an idea for a podcast episode, my first time. Now, I don't know what Janet was talking about. Well, I do, but other people have contacted me. It's inspired several of you to say, how about the first time I went on holiday, the first house I bought, the first time I got married, the first car I bought. So, okay, we'll do that this coming Sunday. Your first time. I think we'll just call it my first time. That's easy, isn't it? A working title. That'll do. So, your first time at anything. Do you remember the first time you left home? Did you go into a rented flat, or did you house share, or what did you do? Did you go to university? Did you go back home? How did you cope living on your own, perhaps in a small rented flat? Who did your washing for you? I remember I left home at, what was I, about 16? A couple of friends of mine had bedsits, and I thought, that's a good idea. I'll get a bedsit downtown with them, and I did. And it was all right for a week or two, but then I thought, I don't know, I'm losing weight, I'm hungry. My washing isn't done, so I went back home. Happy days. One here from Ernie. Hello, Ernie. An email. He says, he's talking about my first time as a good idea. And he says, for an example, the first time he got married, he says he has been married now. He's on his 5th marriage. 5 times. Have you got it right this time, Ernie? You've been married 5 times. So that's what, I suppose that's 4 divorces. You don't want a 5th divorce, surely. My first divorce. Now there's one that could be interesting. So do email me, Ray's Rants at protonmail.com. Ray's Rants, all one word, at protonmail.com. Got one here from where are we? Jerry. There's a dog barking outside now. What's a dog doing up at 6:15 in the morning? Jerry says, the first computer I got. He remembers that. Now Jerry, I have to explain, is 20 years old. So we're not going back to the 1950s, 1960s. We do have quite a few younger listeners, which is great. Jerry was saying in his email that he's very interested hearing about the 50s and 60s, 70s. But of course, he can only go back so far, being 20 years old. So his first computer, he says, which was an amazing day. So is there anything that stands out in your mind, your first time, the first house you bought, the first flat you rented? Your first car, your first job. How about that? Your first job. How old were you? What job was it? Was the money any good? Were you exploited, as I seemed to be when I was an apprentice radio and TV engineer? Be great to hear from you. We've still got a hosepipe ban where I am on the south coast of Britain. I think there's an official drought now where we are. We've had quite a bit of rain, so everything is becoming green again. The lawn is now green rather than brown as it was. But there hasn't been enough rain. We need to fill the reservoirs. Apparently in this country we haven't built a new reservoir for 31 years, and yet the population has exploded in that time. Funny the way the mainstream media use words, isn't it? Population explosion. You know, hasn't it? An explosion is something like a bomb, isn't it? It blows up. The population doesn't explode, but I know what they mean. That brings me on nicely to Ray. Hello, Ray. Ray wondered whether I got his email talking about words. Do you remember I was talking about words and the way people use them? Ray brought up the word absolutely. A lot of people use the word absolutely when they mean yes. And as Ray says, the word absolutely doesn't mean yes. It's on TV, it's on news programmes, it's on the radio. Do you believe we should cut taxes? Absolutely. Well, that doesn't replace the word yes. So yeah, good one, Ray. I thought I'd answered your email, but I don't know, perhaps I didn't. Perhaps I did. I do get confused with emails, I must say, because sometimes I get so many, and I do try to answer them all, but maybe one or two slip through the net. So if you haven't heard from me, email me and moan, complain. and I'll pass it on to the complaints department. Right, that's enough. I'm going to go and have some breakfast and have a peruse around the garden, see what's going on. We've got some nice frogs in and around the pond. They only seem to come out at night. Oh no, there's one who sits on the rock during the day. There's a rock in the pond and he sits there in the sun. And he doesn't seem to mind when I walk past or go and take photos of him. He just sits there. Right, breakfast time. See you next Sunday. Take care, look after yourselves. Bye-bye for now.